welcome back to another episode of the Rivendell Project, and I've decided to start over. Nah, only joking. So this is what stage we're at the moment, and here we are. This is the new and improved Rivendell base display in the place, London. So I've redesigned the entire structure underneath to include a lot of these Technic lift arms. So as you can see here, they are reinforcing all the cross beams, and as well as all the beams that circumnavigate that overall frame that I originally started with, and that has certainly strengthened up the base. And what I've then done to strengthen up the rest of it is, as you can see here, for example, I've built up the structure to the plate height of where the Rivendell set will sit on, and then I've used some upright Technic lift arms to connect. It's pretty standard sort of reinforcement that Lego use themselves in sets. So all the way round, I'm trying to at least get the perimeter of the actual structure included. So I've got some down here as well, and some just underneath there. And with this bigger area here, I also included some sort of midway where I could. So I've got some pear here, and that pear's mirrored on the other side here, and then because I was keeping all of this space open, I've basically just bricked all that across as best I can, and I've got a series of lift arms that are bracing all of that structure all across these main truss beams that will be carrying the weight of the Rivendell set. So overall, the whole structure is massively strengthened. I thought it was pretty strong before. Now it is even more stronger. It is one solid piece of Lego as it stands, which is great, and that's what I was aiming for. And it's freed up a lot of filler brick that I was originally using. So for example, I've still got a few bricks left that I can use for I've still got about a third of it to build up yet, and to figure out the strengthening structure as I go along. But it's definitely filled up there. But as per the original problem, I am wearing thin of this filler brick now, so we'll just have to see as we go. I don't think there's as much to build around this side as there certainly was around the other sides here. So another thing to look at is the area that I've created here. I said I was going to try and utilize this empty space as best as, and I think I've done a pretty good job. So you can see here that I've got a nice long space to create some sort of room, which I was originally thinking of some sort of tomb. So you can see I've built some little sort of statuettes. The one's fallen over there, there and there and there, and a little tabletop there. So I got sort of thinking, and I was thinking some sort of tomb related to the Rivendell set, or at least the elven lore in some way, and I think I suggested sort of designing the aesthetic on the sort of look that Nargothrond has, but I'm veering away from that now, and I think the decision there is based on the influence here, the west gate to the Moria Mines, which I've sort of taken influence of to create this little entranceway. And I'm thinking now, as you might see from the little tabletop there and the skeleton there of what used to be an orc, I'm thinking of creating Balin's tomb. Now it's a fair old space in there, and I think there's enough of it to create, as in the main recognisable parts of the scene, like the skeleton by the well, that I think it's Pippin who knocks the bucket over connected to the chain, which then pulls the skeleton down with it and creates a heck of a noise, which awakens all the rest of the goblins and orcs that are sleeping or at least hibernating there. Anyway, that's a scene from the movie. Anyway, so this is what I'm trying to, or at least thinking along the lines of creating in this space, because I think with it being underground, I think that fits in with the aesthetic of Balin's tomb quite well, and just as a sort of starting point, I created this. I don't think it's a tabletop so much as it is a an actual tomb lid, like an esophagus sort of memoriam to whoever it's encasing. So I basically used what I had available, which was these dark tan sloped bricks, just to create some sort of pillars and archways, of which I've put these little statuettes in, and some sort of little candle lit memoriam in front of them. But obviously the aesthetic of Balin's tombs are a lot different to that, and I don't know whether it might make it too dark, because I've been looking on Rebrickable for some inspirations on the designs of creating it out of Lego, and I'll put a couple of the pictures that I've been looking at for inspiration on the screen now for you to look at. So I was kind of thinking along the lines of either this one or that one, and hopefully implementing those pillar designs where I've put the dark tan pillars otherwise, and maybe sort of creating one, the aesthetic of one just here and at the opposite height here, just to hide those Technic lift arms. So what I've done with those little archways on the side here, I've kind of opened them up, and I've given the impression that there's just some sort of curtains or drapes at least that are just pulled back, so you can just sort of walk by and peer in. Same on this side as well. I think that kind of works for what they're there and representing. Obviously that's the sort of main entrance there, but you could otherwise just walk in and out of there anyway. But I think that in terms of this outside area being the elven aspect and characteristic, I think that kind of fits well. So having all these little sort of framed sort of pictures and insight into what's beyond kind of work really well. So you get that transition from the elven architecture, and then inside, if I can recreate Balin's tomb, then you've got the dwarven architecture on the inside there, which I think will kind of add another dimension to this entire project, which is the plot's thickening each step that I get by. Talking of steps, I am looking at step 1276, and like I say, that's about here that step's at, and I still got a good third to build up yet. So yeah, plenty more pieces to be sifting through and sorting, but that's all pieces out of my own collection that I picked out and put against the inventory. That's all the fake Lego that I've purchased from Go Bricks, and over here are the pieces that Go Bricks couldn't supply, so I had to buy extras from a few Rebrickable sites, but we are otherwise on track for all the pieces to finish this display piece from I'm gonna absolutely decimate your name. It's I forget the name of the designer now. Who is it? There we go. Rebelnili, and the Rivendell Display Base, a big base for the set 10316, and there's your set with the base included. So that's what I'm aiming for. That's the stage I'm at. Let me know what you think about the Balin's tomb idea for in there, because really that stage is going to be either put on hold, or at least until I figure out whether I've got enough pieces, because a lot of it is dark grey and a lot of it uses the 3x2 bricks to sort of recreate the cracked floor. Not really sure if I've got enough pieces to create the aesthetic, but you can see from the images I put on screen what it looks like anyway, and I'll see what I've got in terms of piece counts for all of that, recreating that inside this area, and we'll take it from there. Hopefully I'll have a bit more of this side built up and sort of nearing a finishing point, and I've just got to figure out, I've got some lift arms in position here, which is creating a bit of a confliction with where this angled piece is coming to. I've got to try and work that into some sort of solid joint there. Of course, what I've built here, these structures, these struts that pass across here, aren't exactly the same place as Rebelnili's design, so we've got to try and anticipate that when it comes to building the Rivendell set, and just check that those new positions still support the set itself. If they don't, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I've pretty much redesigned this entire structure, and it's pretty locked in place. As you can see, I've got all these lift arms everywhere, and with most of it built up, trying to take this apart a second time I guess. I've taken it apart once, so yeah, it'll be second time to dismantle and rearrange. I really don't want to do that. Let's give it a flip over and you can have a look at the design on the other side. So with a bit of magic, and that went super smooth. A big piece fell off and just smashed into lots of little pieces, so I've got to work out that when I get it back. But here's a better look of what I've created in terms of strengthening up the structure. You can see there's a lot of support beams that go from one end to the other, all locked into place with the classic Technic system bricks that I've then sandwiched between plates every so often, and then using the Technic lift arms. I've kind of taken advantage of what I got in terms of these pieces and used them to span the majority of the way, but where I've had to build plate structure, like this side being the flooring to Balin's tomb, I've incorporated bricks and got all of them locked into place. So here's a massive structure where those lift arms were going along basically that's the center line of this wider width, and I've made sure that was a stronger section. And same principle I've done here. Okay, taken the center line of this shorter width, and that's what those lift arms will be acting for this little piece on the strut out there. So that's basically it in terms of creating the stronger structure. It's just adding in and taking advantage of a lot of the Technic lift arms that I had in stock, and it's worked out really well. It's probably added a bit more weight, I guess, but it's certainly a heck of a lot stronger. So yeah, thumbs up. Well, that's about it for now. I'll give you another update once maybe I've built up this third and figured all of that out, and we'll see how we get on in terms of deciding what to do about Balin's tomb. Thanks very much.
And don't forget, I was born to be liked. So, subscribe, you son of a bitch.
Pretty sturdy if you ask me.